in like a telecommunications project, insurance, educations. So currently I'm working in banking domain. Okay, so I'm working in project, right? So I have a hands-on, as well as I know how to handle the project as a team lead, because I'm a team lead. So I can give you from start to end. Okay, not like a KT or not like a training like a student. So you can also, if you're joining one project, if you're starting one project, okay, if you're attending for any interview, so this section will be useful for you. Okay, I can guarantee that. Even after this session, I'll be contacting WhatsApp too. Even the number will be shared. Okay, you can call me. Suppose if I'm not reachable, just ping me. I'll respond as soon as possible. Okay. Also, please unmute yourself if you have any questions. Okay. Suppose if I'm not able to answer at the moment, I can try to solve your answer at the end. Okay. Don't be worried. Okay. Let me start sharing my screen to see the course syllabus now. Okay. If I'm one more thing, if I'm going too fast, please let me know. Okay. Because I'll not repeat the keep on same word like a trainer. So it will completely like how you're entering into the project, how you'll handle the project, how you will get an hands-on. So it will be like a professional level. Okay, you can stop me. Okay, if I'm going too fast, I'll not go too fast, but still stop me. Okay, if you feel like. It's my screen visible, the content.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the core syllabus I'm going to cover. Okay. So starting from the performance testing and end how you will sign off the project. So these are the things we are going to cover in this course, not in theoretical as well as the practical section. Okay, as is the introduction. So you want to know, right, which are the topics I'm going to cover, whether it's useful for your career. So definitely it will be useful, but still you want to know the content and just want to share the syllabus first, then we'll start the practical session. Okay, without knowing the theoretical, you will not start into practical, right? So I'll start with three theoretical ones, then we'll go for practical. Okay, so first I'll start with the performance testing. So you need to understand first what's performance testing, right? Then only if you're entering into some project, if you're attending any interview, you should know why we are going for JMeter, why we are picking this tool, right? So you need to understand the basics of the performance testing. So I'll cover those introduction. So what, why, and what are those type? Okay, it's completely like introductions. So basically, like why we are going a performance testing. Basically performance testing is non-functional testing. It's not a functional testing, it's a final stage. Once the functional testing is completed, then we will do the performance testing, then it will go to productions, right? So I'll start the introduction of performance testing and a life cycle. Why you need to know the life cycle means, for example, you are in one project. Okay, you are going to start scripting. So you will not start the scripting directly. Okay, you need to know the requirement first. Based on your requirement, you need to create a plan. Okay, I got that requirement, these are the scenarios I'm going to cover. Correct. So based on the scenarios, I'm going to write a script. Correct. After the script, based on a requirement, I am going to execute. Then after an execution, you will raise a defect. Then defect, you will go for sign off. So your life cycle will be like, for example, I think I shared only this. Maybe I'll write it top. Okay. So first you will collect the requirement. That's a non-functional requirement. Okay. Then you will create a plan, the test plan. Then you will do the scripting. Then you will do an execution. and the last is report. The report, there is in various format. I'll tell you one, see your project how the report will be. Okay, don't worry, I'll show you the template. I'll show how we can write these informations, everything. Okay, so summary report means sign off. Okay, you should know this cycle, because if without knowing cycle, you can also do only scripting and execution. Okay, but better you have to understand the requirement first till the sign off. Okay, even if you are a beginner, okay, just understand your requirement first, then follow your approach. Okay, so this is the life cycle. Okay, this is the life cycle of the performance testing. And in this life cycle also, you will face different challenge. Okay, you have to collect some requirement in the sense, you need to know what are the details I need to collect, what are the informations I need, what are the, like, infra. For example, if you are going to run some applications, what are the machines you need, right? So how you have to collect, so you will face different challenge, so you should know what are the details I have to collect, right? So that is the life cycle. Okay, so these life cycles I'll cover. Okay, then, so you know the performance testing, then you know you are going to pick a JMeter tool, right? Here there are lots of tools, but currently our course is JMeter. So I'll tell you what's JMeter. If you're starting JMeter, why you are going to pick a JMeter? I'll compare the JMeter with other tool, LoadRunner. Okay, I'll compare. Okay, then only you will get it easily. You can collect everything. Okay, so why we need a JMeter? How you can get those JMeter from the client or Google? How you can collect those tool? What are the prerequisite you know need? For example, if it's a JMeter, okay, it's completely a Java based. Okay, it's completely a Java based platform. So you need Java to be installed your machine. Okay, so without Java, you will not do any executions. You will not even open JMeter. So I'll tell you how to install. You know, everyone should know how to install Java, how to do the setup, but still I'll cover because this is the prerequisite. I will cover how to set up Java in your machine. Okay, and these JMeter, right? You can run in both Mac as well as Windows. Okay, you can download Mac as well as Windows. Okay, I'll tell you. But when you are running, right? When you are running or when you are opening JMeter, only small steps you have to change at the initial step to view the JMeter. The initial step might vary. Okay, no, definitely it will vary, right? It's completely different OS. So currently I'm using a Mac. Windows only we will cover, but I'm having a Mac, right? I'll also show you how you can open and how you can execute in the different platforms. Okay, don't worry. Okay. So I'll tell you how to install. It's very simple, but still, as we are covering from the scratch, from the beginner, we are covering to advanced, right? So I'll cover from the scratch. Okay, how to install, how to launch with it. Even I'll cover Mac. Okay, and so you once you got the tool, JMeter tool, you will start scripting, right? Because based on your requirement, what you will do, you will start scripting. So here scripting, JMeter will come, correct? In scripting only, JMeter will come. So you need to know the UI. First, you need to understand the user interface. User interface, I'm calling about an application. Okay. In applications, how it's working. Okay. What's the request? What's the response? How you have to pass the header. How you can understand the code. Okay. If you are not into the IT, it will be difficult to understand for you. But in theoretical view, I'm just telling how the request and how the response will be. For example, I'll share the different screen. Is my screen visible now? Chart. The screen is visible, right? The chart screen. Hello?
It is
Yes,
visible.
Yes, yeah. So if we are new, right? So you need to know what's request, what's this mean. So basically, if you take, there is client. Sorry, please mute yourself. If you have any question, then unmute and please ask. So basically, the normal, if we are doing anything, that will be like a client, the server, right? Client means very basic. First I'll tell very basic thing. Okay, client means our whatever system you are using, right? So you are the client. So whatever application you are accessing, that will reach to the server. Okay, so here what will happen, it will pass the request. Okay, you will pass the request. Based on your request, server will return your response. For example, you are searching something. Okay, even you are typing something Google, you are sending Google to the server, then Google will return your result, right? That result is response. Okay, so you're passing some request, you are returning some response. So you need to understand this basic. When returning this response, right, there are lots of status code. Okay, there are some status codes like 200, 300, 400, 500. I'll tell you the status code. What's the status code? If you are receiving this status code, what you have to do? So you have to understand the basic, how you are accessing the application, then only you can able to fix the script. It's very important. Okay, without understanding the code, you will not know, okay, what mistake you are doing, whether you are doing mistake or server is returning some error. So you have to know the basics of this network level. Okay, these things I will cover, because JMeter will not access UI. I'm not sure how many of you know, JMeter will access the request. Okay, whatever request you are passing, it will capture those requests and it will return a response. It is not UI testing. Definitely you are capturing the request, it will return a response, but you will not see the UI. Okay, like an application, you will not see an UI. Okay, so this will cover in the interactions part. Okay, but everything we are going to see in practical. But before going to practical, you should know theoretical. So then only you can attend the interview, then only you can answer, right? So you should know theoretical as well as the practical. Okay, so any doubts in these introductions? Only in introductions.
So, what are the set of prerequisites a person should have in order to start with JMeter, or like what kind of background should he, what kind of foundation should he have basically?
So to start a JMeter, you have the Java should be installed in your machine. Okay, then JMeter too. Okay, JMeter you can also download from a Google. Okay, but suppose if, but in real time, if you are in a project, okay, you will not use your local machine, right? In your local machine, based on your network speed, you will receive the response. Suppose your networks, if you're using mobile data, you're accessing Google, your network speed will be slow, right? If you're using Wi-Fi with bandwidth, high bandwidth, your network will be fast. Same thing in a project, you will not use your local machine, they will give you a machine. Okay, there you have to install a JMeter. That time you need a Java as well as a JMeter. But these JMeter you can ask the team, okay, which version we want. So everything, so basically the prerequisite should be one
One
machine,
server.
machine should be installed Java.
I'm sorry, I'm
And
actually asking about the like what
language,
kind of
coming to the language, right?
what should I
Knowledge.
have knowledge? Yeah, what
Yes,
knowledge
yes,
should
and that's coming. Yeah, coming to the next point. So
okay,
after JMeter and Java, then you should have a knowledge not in the normal Java. I'm not talking about the language. There is it's not completely a language perspective like a Java or C. So if you know some basics like if conditions are while, the normal controller level, that should be fine. But if we are well and good in Groovy or Java, there is also an options we can implement in JMeter. But basically no need to know any language in to understand for doing a JMeter. Suppose for worst scenario, I'm just talking about an worst scenario. If there is a scenario, okay, we can also implement those scripting in JMeter, either Groovy or Java, or you can also write JavaScripts with the help of processor. Okay, but it's not mandatory.
right? Okay.
Yeah,
Um, right. Yeah, also you mentioned something about network, so you should have knowledge about network, um, some stuff like that. Okay, yeah, got the idea. Thank you.
yeah, okay. So I'm just start from the scratch because others people should understand, right? When I'm talking about Java, maybe they should not get confused, right? So I start from, if you start a JMeter, what are the machines you need and what are the languages you need?
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. So any other doubts? Okay, I'm just jumping to scripting. Okay, so you know the requirement, you have the tool with you, but I'll tell you how to collect the tool, what are the informations you need, that I'll cover in life cycle. Don't worry, okay? How to collect those information. I'm just talking about the machine, right? That machine also I'll tell you if you are facing some issues, how you can approach with the team, that I'll tell you, okay? Also, I'll tell the common terminologies, okay? For example, when you're talking about the requirement in a project, you will call it as NFR document. So in project, you will use a different words. Okay, for example, if you call it as user, here we call it as virtual users. Okay, we call it as VU. So you need to know the technical words, that also I'll cover. Okay, so for example, if you are entering some 3 years or 4 years of experience, they will evaluate you, right? So when they are talking about virtual, how many virtual user you used means you will get confused. So you should know the technical words how we used in performance testing, that I'll cover, don't worry. Then scripting. Okay, so you started a scripting based on the requirement. As we are seeing the basics, I'm just talking about the normal words. When we started a practical section, I will use only the technical words. Okay, I'll also tell, okay, this is the word we will use, the technical words in project. Okay, so we'll use a requirement, that is NFR. Okay, NFR, non functional requirement. Okay, so you're going to start a scripting based on those NFR, right? So you know which are the scenarios you have to cover. You will not cover an entire scenario. Okay. If you take a manual tester, what they will do, they will test each and every functionalities. But as a performance tester, we are going to evaluate only speed, scalability, and reliability. That I'll cover these introductions in a performance testing. Okay, each and everything will be get covered. Okay, if you are into the project, how you can handle. Okay, so when you start a scripting, okay, so you know the scenarios, right? So when you after you started a scripting, you know, you have the handy with the requirement, what are the scenarios you have to cover, right? So to cover those scenario means some steps I'm talking about. Okay, some script steps. For example, you are launched the application, you are logging into the applications, You will purchase something, then you will do logout. That steps I am call it as scenario. Okay, but in technical word in a project they will call different traversal flow. Okay, they will call it as traversal flow. So going forward you will get to know, okay, what I'm talking about, how we can use the technical word, that I'll tell. Okay, so as you know the basics, first I'll start the basic words, then you will catch the advanced words. Okay, so you're starting the scenario, so you have the scripts ready. To start the script you should know some template, right? Every tool have some templates, so how you can cover those template, that will cover in JMeter scripting. In which phase I'll tell you this an element. Okay, in scripting, to follow some template you need to understand some elements. Okay, element, so these are the options you have to select. After this, these options you have to select, then for recording these options you have to select. So you have to know the element, so that element I'll cover. For example, if you see here an element, okay, you will start from test plan. Okay, there is some scenario, there is some detail we will see, but I'm just giving what the course syllabus is. Okay, you will see the scenario. Under the scenario, how many users you want to run. Here we'll talk about users, how many scenarios you are going to run. These users, we have a different element option in JMeter. I'll tell you which are the element you have to choose, when you have to choose those element. Okay, as well as controller. Control, you're talking about conditions, if conditions, for loop, while. So you need, right, you at least you should use the basic things, right? So the controller I'll cover. Okay, those explanations. Sampler means you are running something, you want to debug. Okay, you are running, you want to see whatever I am running the scripts is correct or not. To debug something, okay, to debug the request, we are using some samplers. I'll tell how the sampler, how we can select those samplers. Next is configurations. Configurations means you are going to run a different uses, you are going to run different data, so different set of data you will use, right? How we can pass those test data we are going to use for scripting, that will cover in configurations. Okay, assertion, you know, assertion means validations. So you are running something manually, you can see, okay, I'm just clicking some button, you will get some response, correct. But when you are going with a tool, when you are running for multiple users, you will not validate, right? Manually you can't validate. At the time this assertion will help for validating purpose. Okay, then timer. Why you need a timer? Manually you are going to purchase something, you will log in, you will wait for some time, you will go and take your card, you will distract for something like 5 seconds or 3 seconds, right? Immediately you will not click next button, right? You will take some time, that's a user behavior, right? Maybe I'll wait for 2 seconds, you will wait for 5 seconds, you will think about it, you will cancel it. So those timer also we have to implement in tool, because we want the same behavior the tool should do, right? That is the timer. Okay, and this is very important topic. Okay, pacing and think time. With this help of pacing and think time only you can achieve your target. For example, I want to do only 10 times in 1 hour. 1 hour I want to place only 10 order. So that calculations we can cover in pacing and think time, that I'll cover. I'll tell you formulas, how you can implement in JMeter. This is very important. So if you, for example, in 1 hour you want to achieve 20 you are placing only 10 means you are wasting 1 hour time, right? So again you have to start the execution, so you will lag. So this is very important topic, okay? But in a project we call it as workload modeling. In interview also they call it as workload modeling, so you'll get confused. These technical words I'll cover when we are going with practical section, okay? For the basics to see the course content, just know about the syllabus. But when we are seeing the practical and when we are seeing the theoretical thing, I'll tell you the technical words, just note it down, okay? So this one I'll tell you how we can achieve in JMeter, okay? The listener means results. So you want to see the results, right? You are running something, you want to see those results. So which element you use? That is the listener. So here we are using the listener. Coming to the processor, suppose one person writes question, right? What language we need, right? Suppose you want to implement some language like a Java, some groovy scripting. Anyway, I'll cover BeanShell scripting. I'll tell you how to write the basics code. Okay, don't worry. Suppose if for anyway everyone have a bad luck, right? Suppose we are entering a project, you want to write some code means you I don't want people to suffer, right? So I'll tell you how we can write the code. So code here we call it as custom code. In technical world they will call. Just ignore the technical word. If you want to write some code like a JavaScript or something, this processor will help, okay? You can give some input to the JMeter element, then based on your input script will execute. So to start the scripting itself, you need to understand the template, this element, okay? So these I'll cover. Very important thing commonly used in a project I'll cover, okay? We also have a functions, inbuilt functions are there, okay? For example, inbuilt function, you no need to write anything, any code, okay? Normally date functions will be there, time will be there, random number you can pick. So normally inbuilt functions will be there. I'll tell you the commonly used functions, how we can implement, okay? Any doubts in elements, okay? Before scripting itself, you should know these element, okay? Without this element, you are not knowing which element you have to pick to start the scripting, right? So this element is very 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 important, okay? This is the starting. To start the scripting means you should know the element. So any doubts in elements? Okay, I'll take it as no. So going back to scripting, so you know these elements, right? So the elements is very important. I'll tell you how to use them. After that, you will start a recording. If you start the recording, you should know which browser you have to choose. In browser, we have to do some settings based on the time to remove the firewall. So alternate ways, I'll tell you how we can record those applications with help of different methods, okay? That I'll cover when we are going with scripting, okay? I'll cover how to do the scripting with a different approach, okay? Not only a JMeter, with the help of other thing also we can record and we can implement in JMeter, okay? I'll tell, okay? So JMeter, you need a certificate. I'll tell you how to install it. When you download, when you start recording itself, it will automatically generate certificate. But still, if you want to regenerate,